And welcome to OB Studios. In today's video, we are going to do something with Elementor. We are going to build a hero section. If you love hero sections, I do. So we're going to build a hero section, which you can see over here. So the hero section, we're going to use containers. Containers is now the new thing. Everybody's loving it. When they were in beta, I did 1 or 2 videos on it, but now is the time, since it is almost out of beta, now is the time for it to be used like on a real website. So over here, we are going to get into designing what we have in this section. Well, we might touch on this, but mostly what we have over here. So let's head into WordPress. So here's WordPress, and I have this page called Hire X. So over here, we are going to use containers to build this. So firstly, we are going to add a container. So the first container, we are going to make sure that our width is, let me see what the width is for this. 1270. So let's give this one 1270 for the inner section. You can see that 1270. If I want to make it full width, then I can make it full width over here, but the inner one is 1270, which is good. The next thing that we want to do is we want to have a container for the left hand side and then an image on the right hand side. One thing that you should know is you don't have to place an image in a container. If the image is by itself, if you don't really have anything that is connected to the image, you don't have to put it in a container. So I'm going to show you that too. All right, so let's add another container in here. And then inside the container, we want to make sure that this container is full width. You see the container is full width, which is pretty good. And then inside the main container, we're going to add an image. So take an image and then put it inside that container, but make sure that that image is down below because we want it to be on the right. So now that we've done that, let's click on the main container, and then we're going to change the direction to horizontal. So horizontal direction, which is pretty good. And then after that, we want to put in our images that we have. So this image on the right, I'm going to click on choose image, and then over here, I'm going to choose this image and insert it. All right. After that is done, what I want to do is to make sure that I have my image at this height. So I'm going to copy that height, and then I'm going to make sure that this image is full width. And then over here on the width hand side, I'm going to leave it empty, and on the height, I'm going to paste in the height that I have. And I'm going to change the object fit to cover. But you can see that it's not working properly. So you can do contain, and then you can also do like fill. All right, when that is done, I want to make sure that I move this slider a bit more. Change this one to default. Let's put default over here, right? Change this one from percentage to pixels. Let's do the 513 pixel. And then let's make this one fill, cover. All right, and then we can also choose contain. So we can leave this one at contain, and we can continue building what we have on the left hand side. So the first thing we're going to do is build what we have over here. There are several ways of doing this, but the most easiest way to gain what you have here without writing any code is probably use another div inside. So in here, I'm going to add this div, or a container as we call it. Then make sure that this container is full width. And then I'm going to go to advanced and make sure that the paddings are 0 on all sides. And also make sure that margin is also 0 because there are paddings inserted. And then in here, what I want to do is to add the text. And then after the text, I want to add what we have over here. So copy that and then paste it. That is good. The next thing that I want to do is to add an icon. So I'm going to type in icon, and then I'm going to put the icon right there. Click that container, and then make sure the container is on the layout. The container is horizontal. And then also you want to make sure that it's centered like that. And it is on the left-hand side, which is pretty good. All right, so we have that situated. The next thing that I want to do is click on this and then deal with the font size. Here, font size is 17. So what I'm going to use, instead of using pixel over here, I'm going to use clamp. So I built a website called clamp.obstudios.io, that you can visit and create clumps. So I'm going to remove what we have here. So here I'm going to leave this one, let's say 260 for the minimum width. Over here, I'm going to make this one 12, let's say 1300. Sorry, let's say 1300. And then I want to make sure that the smallest that I want the font size to be is probably a 14. Yeah, let's look at 6. Okay, 15 is good. And then the biggest is 17 as we have there. So after that, everything is generated. I'm just going to copy what we have here and then go back. And over here, I'm going to just paste this in here. Our font is space group text. So I'll make sure that I type that in and put it back. And then going back into Figma, make sure that this is medium size. So I'm going to change this one to medium, which is good. And then our icon, click on icon. I'm going to choose SVG. I have an SVG over here. So that is good. The size of the icon is 36 pixels. And then over here, I'm going to change the color to a black. Pretty good. All right, so we have done the very first part. The next thing that I want to do is to work on this. There are so many ways to do this also. We can use something in CSS called pseudo class. We can use the after class to add the image after the text. But sometimes those images are not they are not responsive. You have to work on responsiveness and stuff like that. So what we are going to do is let's add another div down below. And then in this div, we are going to add text number 1. All right, so in this text, what we are going to do is to add our very first one. Let me copy everything from here. All right, so we have award. And then in the award, I'm going to go make sure that I click on the container. I want to make sure that this container wraps and is centered. We can center, okay, wrap, and then let's make it flesh that. So be on the left hand side. And then we want to make sure that this container is also going in the direction of horizontal, which is good. The next thing that we want to do is to add an image. So image, make sure the image is in a container. All right, select container. All right, so this image is going to be, I want to select the image, which is what we have over here. All right, so you can see that it's working properly now. The next thing I want to do is I want to change the font size, style this, and then just duplicate it so that we can use this for the other one. So over here, you can see that font size is 84. So for 84, I'm going to come back into the Clamster, change this one to, let's say 36, and then 84. And I'm going to copy what we have here. So copied, go in here, and then on this, go to styling, go to typography, change from pixel to the pencil, and then paste this in there. Let's change the color to black. Going back into Figma, okay. Let's change the typography, the font type to space with text. That is pretty nice. So now we have our first font. We're just going to duplicate it, put it on the other side, change this word to winning. So winning, which is good. Then the next thing I'm going to do is duplicate this again. And then here I'm going to copy that, come back over here, and then paste this in there. So this, what I just showed you is one way of doing it. There's another way of doing it, which you have to know something called pseudo classes and other stuff like that. We are not going to touch on that, but this is one way of doing it, and it should work if you want to do something like this. All right, so in here, I'm going to just click, make sure that the container is selected, make sure everything is centered like that. So this comes down, everything is middle, blah, blah, blah. Looks nice. Let's see what we have now. All right, the next thing you have is a text. So this text, what I'm going to do, go into text, is doing whatever. We don't need it to be in that container. Let's close this container. So that is text. All right. All right, so come down like that, paste what we have in here. All right, so there's so many ways of making sure that you can see that this breaks on a create. What you can do is you can come in and then just break it on a create. You can add like a BR and then break it like that if you want, but that is not responsive. That is a bad idea. One way that you can achieve that break is go to advanced, and then in the advanced section you want to change the width to custom, and then what you have created, you want to go and check the width, which is 470, copy that. In the custom, you want to make sure you change this onto pixels, and then you paste that over there. You can see that it's not breaking over here, just that we haven't styled this enough. So you can see that the font is 20. So for 20, I'm going to go to Cluster. Maximum is 20. Minimum is 16. And then I'm just going to copy what has been created. You can click on this to copy it too if you want. And here, I'm going to change this one to text black. Change what we have here to enter, because that is what is being used. And then here to the pencil and paste what we have. Right, consider it's still a bit bigger. We can change this one to, let's say, a normal. Was it normal? We can change this one to medium. All right, so let's do medium and see. All right, so let's do normal. Normal is okay. So normal should work. And then for line height, I'm going to do a 30 pixel line height. So that is how you also create that. The next thing that we want to create is this. How do you do that? Consider there's no space in between here. So back to Elementor, I'm going to add a form widget. So I'm going to select this container, go into the and then type in form, and then just paste in the form widget, just like that. Beautiful. And the form widget, as you can see, we only have emails part. So remove name and remove message. The next thing I want to do is to make sure that label is not showing, and then go back into the email, and I'm going to change the width to 70%, and then collapse that. Go to buttons, and then button, you want to make sure that the width is also what you call it, 30%. So 70 plus 30 is 100. Pretty cool. All right, so the next thing is to style this out and see how it goes. So in the styling option, the gap, I want to make sure the gap is 0, row gap 0. You can do with that later, but you can make that 0. Spacing of labels 0. Everything here 0. We can change the typography and other stuff like that. Okay, let me make sure that I have this color pick. All right, so I want to go to button, right? And then the button background color, change this one to that color, and then you can see that the color for the typography over there is black. So make sure that we have that as black. Nice. And then let's do typography. Typography here is 16 semi-bold. So go to Camster, can leave that at 16. Since I don't want to make the font size over here smaller than 16, I'm not going to use Camster because it will be useless. So what I'm just going to use normal pixel. So make sure I put 16 because I don't want it to scale down, and then change this one to space, good text like that, which is fine, and then make this one semi-bold. Right, let's make sure that we have the right thing going on. All right, so let's copy what we have here, and then let's go in here and then go to button, and then instead of send, we paste what we just copied, which is pretty good. All right, so okay, all right, so for this, height is 54, blah blah blah. I'm just going to zoom in a bit, and then I just want to see 18, 21, 22. All right, so let's make sure this is selected, and then go back into the styling. I'm going to style the button, and then go into the button, right? So the button, the top is 18. I'm going to unlock this one, and then the right is, let's say 25, and let's say 25. So see that nothing pretty awesome is happening. It's still showing like a bigger one. So we can go back in here and then change this one to, let's say 80, right? And then go into the button and then also change this one to 20. All right, consider that is not good. So 25, and then go into the field and then change this one to also 75. Works pretty well. All right, so since that is done, now we want to style the field. So let's go into field typography. We can leave that the border, right? So for border, what we want to do is basically make sure that the border is black, so total black. So border color is black, and I think the border is also 1. Is border 1? Okay, border is 2. So let's make sure that we do the right thing and put a 2 over there. So we have a 2 border. This then also has a border. So let's go into the button, and then for the button we also have a border around it. So border radius, we can give that as a 0. Has a 0 border radius. And then for the border type, can say solid, and then give the border of 2. Right, that is good. Now let's go back into the field. So for the field, we want to do a bit more. All right, so now we want to deal with the field. As you can see, the field is smaller than what you have over here for the button. So one thing that we can do to mitigate that is to go into the input size and change this one to, let's say, a large. But when you do a large, you can see that you still have like this becoming bigger than that. You can use custom code to fix it, or we can come back into our button. So for the button, and then we can make sure that the top goes up a little more, and that should work for what we want for the first part. The next thing that we want to do is this thing has a shadow. So it has a shadow on there that I'll try and build out. So let's try and build out that shadow that they do have. But before that, let me copy this and then come over here, make sure that over here the placeholder should be that. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is to make sure that I create the shadow. So form is still selected. I'm going to go to advanced. So in the advanced section, I want to come down and then look for border, right? And then box shadow. In box shadow, I want to make sure that this is fully black. It's fully black. And then I want to make sure there's no blur. And then position is outside. And then we're going to shift this one down a little more. All right, so that is how you can do that. And then you can also shift it like 4 pixels or 5. Let's say 4 pixels there, like that. So that is how you create the shadow that you have, but it has a little radius to it. So what I am going to do is to make sure that I go into, starting over here, the field has a radius of, let's say, let me check it out. Mixed radius. All right, so this also has a mixed radius, but let's put a radius of 5. So a 5 radius should work. So that is what we have over here for the radius. I'm going to remove the highlight thing that is happening. I don't really want it. So over here, you can see that when you go on hover, text, remove it so you don't have any highlights there, and that is fine. We can see that there's a white space over here. We can try and fix that. Let's see whether adding a background color of black will fix it. Yes, it did. All right, so that should be good. Make sure you select this too and then go to border. And then on the border too, I'm going to give this one a 5. Okay, it's not okay, shadow. Okay, right. So now the shadow is fake because now the shadow also has like a border around it. So that is how you can do that. I'm going to make this one a bit smaller. Go back over here. The size of this is this. So I'm going to copy that. And then in here, go to styling. There is no width. So you can go to advanced, and then in the width, you can change this one to custom. and then make sure it's not percentage but pixel, and then paste this in there. But when you do that, you can see that this thing is not looking nice. So we can, let's expand a little. You can bring it here, and then we can change. Okay, let me paste what the size is, and then over here I'm going to make sure that going back into the field, make this one into, let's say 50. Okay, 50 is too much. Let's make this one to a 60. And then for the button, let's change the button also. Change the button for 25 into 40, and that should work. All right, that's pretty good. So that is almost there. What we need is this. All right. So what I am going to do is to have what you can do here is you can use a normal text. You don't have to use a div. So let's say we put like a normal text over here, put in the what we want, and then in the styling, what we are going to do is to make sure that space equal text 13 pixels. Let's make it 14. So I'm not going to touch. When it comes to this. I'm going to go into styling, typography. I'm going to use pixel because we want this one to be 14 pixels throughout. And then we want to make it a regular. So change this one into normal, and then change this one into space with text. Just good. Change the color into this, which is pretty good. All right, the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to make this one into inline auto. Okay, inline auto didn't work for it. Custom, let's say 100 and default. All right, so I'm going to do like custom, and then I'm going to open this up a little more like this. And then for pattern, you can see okay. So if we are bringing, okay, so 20 pixels on the right, top and down 20 pixels, and then we have 23 on the left. All right, so let me unbreak this, and then I'm going to give 23 out. 20, this one will be a bit back 20 here, and then to the right 75, to the left 20 pixels, button 20 pixels. I think this one was 25. All right, so what I'm going to do is expand this a bit more. But when you do that, it doesn't really look nice. So, but we are going to maintain it on this side. And then afterwards, I'm going to give it a background color. So background color, go here. I'm going to copy this, and then put in the color that I just copied. Right, you can see that this one looks like it has a little fade. I think it's faded a little. So what I'm going to do is fade this one. Fade it, fade it, fade it. That should work pretty fine. And then so that is that. There's a stroke, there's a red stroke on it. So pick a red stroke, and over here I'm going to make sure that you can go to like border, and then give it like a solid, make it a one pixel solid, the 1 pixel solid. And then radius, is there radius on this? Okay, there's a big radius on this. Okay, mix radius. Okay, let's give this like a 25 radius. Okay, that's too much. 10 radius. All right, so a 10 radius should work. Yeah, and then a color, can put the red color there. That is fine. All right, so how do we get that little thing that you have over here? We can do that by applying, let's say, an icon on it. So yeah, we can apply an icon, or if we had probably a clip path, we can also apply a clip path to like the whole background for it to create this, but we don't have that. So we're just going to leave it at this box. I'm going to go back in here, go to the border, and then make the opacity a bit smaller. That's just not that big. But I don't know why even this thing is too big like that. It's not necessary to make it that big. So yeah. So that is the little build that we intended to do. I am going to click here and then top and bottom. Let me go to advanced, so then give this one a 90. So top and bottom. I'm going to make sure that the right is 0, the left is also 0, and that should work, and you should save it. And then I also want to change the background color, so let's get in here. We can change through, but we can click on this, and then let me select the frame that we're working at, copy that, and then I'm just going to paste. So paste that and save it. So that is how you can take something like this from here and bring it into WordPress using Elementor. It was pretty fun. Let's try and make this a bit responsive. So I'm going to click on this, make sure that the width is 100. It's 100%. And also, I didn't select that right. Wait, is that it right then? It's 100%. And also this one is also, let's click back on this, go over here, and then for this, you want to wrap it. So 100%, and then it wraps down. And then also gonna make sure you click on it, make sure you click on the container, and then center everything. So come into the center like that. We can make this a bit smaller. Make it also 100%. You can also just go and make it 100% and it should work. And then we can make sure that this is not overflowing. Is it overflowing? Additional options, overflow as hidden, which is good. And yep, and everything should look good. And then we should save it. You can go into mobile. This looks like that. This also look like this. So this thing is not becoming smaller on other screen sizes. So what I'm going to do is on something like mobile, I'm just going to change the size to something more like this. All right, that should be good. Yeah, that should work fine. So this is the build. Oh, over here, not working good. Let's change this to percentage. Make this 100%. Cool breeze. This one also working. We can give this one a bit of border around it, left and right, 10 pixel, and then also 10 pixel like that, so it's not touching the edge. This seems to be a bit too tall for what it is intended to do, so let's make it 0. It still has that. So for the 0 on the top, we just want to give it like 50 pixels, and that should be fine. The bottom looks to have a bit because of the styling of the height. That is why that thing is happening, but we can reduce it. Yeah, we can reduce that to, let's say, 500, or probably 500 is too much. As you can see, it's too much for that. And then just go back into the main container, and then you can also give the bottom 50 pixels, and everything should look fine, and you can save it. So we've built a responsive hero section. You can copy this. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to link this below in Gomrad, right? And if you want to download it, you can also download it for a cool breeze of $1. $1 should be good. Yeah, so that everybody can just download it. Or probably I should say your price from 0 to whatever price that you want. Yeah, but you can download this from Gomrad. I'm going to leave a link down below for you to download that. Yeah, if you enjoy this, if you have any questions, you can also leave the questions in a comment section below. Yeah, and also if you did enjoy it too, you can give us a thumbs up. you can subscribe to the channel. I'm going to drop new videos very soon, so you can do that, and we should have a blast. As always, my name is Nyako. This is Obi Studios. Thank you for watching.